All right, so here we are again. So thank you, Lisa, for coming together once again, and let's proceed to making some space for Mother Earth to share.
I am with you.
Wonderful. Yeah, so we've spoken a little bit about what's going on with this evolution, what the transition might look like. And what I'm curious about now is what the new Earth would look like. So we are on this side of the transition, and I'm absolutely certain that the period moving through the transition, like all transitions, is going to be somewhat chaotic and maybe difficult in some ways for some people. But what's the point as we get to the other side of this? What can we expect? And where's why are we doing this? Why are we here during this time of a shift from one world age to another age? And what will the new Earth be like, feel like, look like, uh, visually, vibrationally? Is there anything that you'd like to share about that?
I'm showing Lisa a spiral moving up. And that is indeed what we are. We are spiraling up. Everything must evolve. It's a rule of the universe that things must evolve. If you don't evolve here, you may go to another place and evolve. If you don't evolve here, it doesn't mean you're not unsuccessful. It means I have taken you to the limits of where you can go. For example, last night I showed Lisa, she had asked, why have sharks not evolved to any more than they were millions, perhaps more years ago? And I have said they have, and you are seeing many species becoming extinct, or as you call it, extinct. And this isn't a bad thing. It just means they're done here. Just like people who die, they're done here. A species is done. A species as a group is done evolving, and they will move up to this next spiral. And as you may know, the Earth is revolving around the sun, and the sun is moving very fast through this universe. You don't feel it, but the sun is zooming past this part of the universe as it orbits the galactic center and another star. As it orbits this, it will spiral up in a spiral motion. That is a symbol, I believe, on this earth that's very old, the spiral. And it means evolution, that everything must change and evolve. And right. We are at that period. We are changing and evolving. We're in an accelerated cycle of evolution right now. So we are going to experience changes within our consciousness, not massive changes on this physical planet, although this physical planet is done. This is done.
So what do you mean by done as a physical planet?
as we spiral up, this third dimension, round world that you see spirals down. As we evolve, the rest of this de-evolves. It's the species that don't go. It's the human aspects of the soul that don't go. And do not feel that this is bad. Do not feel that I'm on a dying world. It is not. It's just a phase, as you said, a tumultuous phase that we will endure a little bit before things start to appear better. This is not, you're going to wake up one day and everything is changed. The changes are in your consciousness. And with greater consciousness, you will have more of an ability to do things with each other, do things on this planet, understand how the planet works, and understand what you have to be stewards of this planet, because indeed that's what you're going to be.
Right. Okay, so there's a couple follow-up questions to that. So you talk about shifting dimensional frequencies, but I am assuming that it will still be a physical planet, in the sense that those beings, all species of life on this earth, will be able to interact through the senses as we do today, through visual, auditory, tactile, and other senses. We will still be able to interact amongst each other with the elemental kingdoms, with nature. It's just going to be a slightly different vibrational frequency that allows the soul to anchor more deeply. Is that accurate?
Very well said. But we will slowly perceive this. This is evolution after all. And we will slowly have these new perceptions, have these new ideas, and we will be guided by our new found connections to the soul, to the higher aspects of ourself. And indeed, the earth is a higher aspect of all of ourselves. She is a higher aspect of you. She is a higher aspect of your neighbor, of all of ourselves, and we will experience her as that. So in regards to a physical world, I've shown Lisa a few times. Lisa's working on like a hypervision kind of thing, where she sees a new reality. Right now she sees, and it's a little foggy, it's a little imaginatory. And I've shown her this new hyper reality. And she's compared that reality to this reality. And what she feels is that the old reality, the reality that she is experiencing right at the moment, is but a paltry substitute for this new reality. And that's what you'll begin to see. You'll begin to see more deeply into everything, not just a few things, not just animals, not just plants. You'll be able to see deeper layers of the consciousness of this planet. You'll be able to enter into that divine marriage between you and the earth. And this is not, wow, we wake up and it's going to be all new. This is going to come to you. It's like a blooming flower. You start as a bud and the petals will open and you will stay in full bloom. And what you create will be your new currency. Everybody says, oh, what's the new currency? What's the new money system? And everyone's very excited about this, but your new currency will be your creativity and what you can make and what you can trade with each other and how you do things. You all have very unique skills in what you make, and you will make with your mind. Everything starts with an idea, and in these higher realms, the idea is made real.
That makes a lot of sense because, our current world system is based on scarcity. And so currency is based on, the give and take of a model of scarcity. So it's all about manipulation, greed. It's about, controlling based on the idea of not having enough. So if we connect with a divine creativity, there's always abundance. There's always unlimited abundance. And so when we get to find a medium of exchange based on creativity rather than based on the physical currency, there's absolutely no limits and there's absolutely no lack.
Lisa has, as an artist, Lisa has always used her creativity as her currency, but she had to survive with the money system as well. And for her, that's a very strange thing because she is, as a planetary consciousness, a highly creative being. So it's been a disconnect for her whole life for the money system. It just doesn't resonate with her. When she was little and she found out that you have to buy a piece of earth to live on, you have to buy it and become enslaved, she thought the concept was incredibly foreign to her. And it has been throughout all her incarnations here. How could you buy a piece of land?
Yeah.
Like, why would anybody charge you for that? Like, what kind of slavery is that? The earth offers this to you for free.
Yeah.
And you need to have enough consciousness to share this and live in prosperity. I'm sure that you've looked down from a high point in an airplane and you have seen the amount of land in this country and in many other countries, and you think, why do people all gather in cities and live with difficult living situations where there's all this land? There's enough food and enough clean water on this planet for everyone to use. There is enough prosperity. Go ahead.
Yeah. Not just for the human species.
Yes. There's enough. If you make room in your garden, as Lisa and her husband have, for the animals to be, they're here. I mean, we live in a very urban area, but there's foxes, there's owls, we've left dead trees standing for woodpeckers. I mean, and it's only about an acre here, and the gardens are abundant. It's only an acre, and yet there's lots of animal life here. There's lots of interconnectedness here. There's amphibians here. There's a whole range of natural things that are living together here. And we can do this. We can live like this. We can live as one We do not have to cover things with asphalt. We don't need this. We have a portal system that we can use here on the earth that will take us anywhere we want to go. And that's something that I'm going to be working on with Lisa soon, the portal system. One of the reasons why the poles are moving very quickly back to their original alignment so that these portals can be used.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we are out of alignment energetically. The tilt toward the sun and our seasons will stay the same, but our energetic alignment needs to be adjusted. When the energetic alignment, the southern pole reaches the East Indian Ocean, there will be, or the West Indian Ocean, sorry, there will be an alignment. And this alignment will allow the portal system to work. We won't need cars, we won't need anything. We will be able to use this.
What's interesting is that according to people like Ben Davidson and others, the new poles of the Earth, once the geomagnetic shift takes place, the North Pole will be in the area of the Devil's Triangle in the South China Sea. The South Pole would be in the region of the Bermuda Triangle. And both of these regions are portals. This is where there's many accounts of ships and airplanes disappearing, going through these portals into other dimensions, or returning back again, or transiting through time. So it makes sense when you say that there's a new portal system developing as we realign the polarity of the Earth. Now, one question that also comes up for me is that many people have spoken about this realignment as a catastrophic event. So it could lead to crustal plate displacement, where the entire crust of the Earth slips over the mantle. It could be connected with solar flashes. Some people say another name for this would be a solar micronova. It could be connected with massive disturbances seismically and volcanically, which could have the potential of an extinction level event. Now, that's one theory, and there's many different phenomenon that could be interpreted going in that direction. But I'm also sensing that as we shift vibrationally, as the Earth evolves to its next frequency, that we no longer have to go through these catastrophic moments, that we can actually achieve a level of stability as we go through this transition, that we can get to the other side in a relatively smooth and graceful manner. How do you see that?
You said something key yesterday in your group. You said that humanity lives in a very narrow range of temperatures, of balance of oxygen, of one small shift in temperature of the earth, and food production slows down. There's a balance kept here every day. There's a balance that the elementals keep here every day. There's no reason to think that that balance won't continue. Why would I set you on an evolutionary path only to create giant distortions and issues for you? I would not. This is just fear mongering. This is not something. These ideas keep you all vibrating at a very low level. And that is incongruous to what the ascension period is about. So let go of those ideas that there's going to be a giant solar flare or flash. If that were true, if the planet and its relationship to the sun were that unstable, you wouldn't be here. This is not going to be a period of giant instability. This instability is created by the imbalance of your selves to the earth. The more of you that connect with the earth being, and you will connect, the more balance we can achieve and go through this period a lot easier.
Right. Well, two things come up for me when you say that. One is that there's so many children being born today who are highly advanced souls, and they're here for a purpose. And they wouldn't have come, and they wouldn't be coming if the end of all this is major catastrophe. And the other thing that comes up for me is that a lot of these ideas may be imprinted in our subconscious based on past memories. So we've had catastrophes in the past, the time of Atlantis and other events before that, whether it was through cometary implosions, whether it was through geomagnetic shifts or crustal plate displacements, whether it was due to solar micronova or galactic superwaves, whatever the mechanism, there have been these extinction level events periodically and regularly. But these are imprinted within our subconscious based on these memories. It doesn't mean necessarily that this is our future, because you're shifting vibrationally. The same events could take place with a startlingly different outcome based on the vibrational frequency that we're on collectively. So when I hear you say that, that's what comes up for me. And this really affirms or confirms what I've been feeling more and more, that yes, there's the potential of catastrophe or extinction, but because we've chosen collectively, and because it's Gaia's intention and plan now to move into a whole new vibrational field, that this is not necessary, and that the outcome will be something that we can't even comprehend today, but will be beautiful, will be graceful, powerful, joyful, and successful.
I think that a lot of you may have had lives where there was catastrophes here. And I do believe that that is part of a past life trauma. And as Lisa moved up in her consciousness through different portals at different stages, at one time she went before the Divine Planetary Mother, and she said, look, see all these things. She set them on a table in front of her. She said, see all these things that you have in your past? And she swept them off the table and she said, let them go. Let all of this stuff go, because we are going into the new. And you must let all of your past traumas go. And most teachers on this earth will tell you that past traumas are important to let go of.
Right.
Because they will just create new traumas.
Right.
So the more we cleanse ourselves, the more we understand we are divine beings made in the image of the Creator, the more we understand these things, the better our experiences will be.
And that's so we can hold a space within which, so if we are infinite consciousness embodied in physical form, we are an aspect of divine creativity, we are an aspect of the earth, we are an aspect of the entire universe experiencing itself in time and space. And so our intentions, our creative thoughts and visions actually create something fresh and new. So this kind of creation isn't based necessarily on a timeline that has to do with cause and effect, that has to do with the past, but it's a timeline that's based on continuous creative expression, which is not karmic, it's not based on subconscious trauma, it's based on the recognition that the moment we choose to let go of trauma, we can enter into our divine creativity and then create anew. Not based on the law of karma or cause and effect, not based on stories or fears from the past, but based on the fullness of divine presence. I think that's what divine presence is about, being present with our divinity, with our creativity, with our divine expression. And there's no limits to that. So as more and more people become aware of this and start putting the pieces together and see the big picture and connect with different levels of the mind that make this possible, that divine expression, that soul potential can then begin to infiltrate through our physical, etheric, emotional, mental bodies and connect with the heart of Gaia, because we're not separate, connect with all the forces of nature, the creative forces that are involved in new creation, whom I call the elemental beings. And that's some of the gift for these times. It's what we're here for. My sense is that many of us are here to remember who we are and why we are, to make that kind of connection with Mother Earth, which we long for, but we've forgotten. This is why we have been a little bit incomplete. We've felt ourselves as fragmented and separate because that connection has been broken. And now there's a new collective repair job going on, where these old subconscious forms and ideations are being released from the collective. And maybe that's part of why we're going through so much chaos and trauma collectively. You know, all the wars that are being fought, all the control dramas that we're experiencing in order to get through this and to find ourselves once again.
Most, shall we say, more enlightened people find that there's a dissonance. There's a war, but this is not what you want. There's starvation and dirty water for people to drink, and this is not what we want. We are finding that dissonance, and any creation starts with a desire. Any creation starts with an idea, and you are going to be getting that desire and that those ideas. And if I could wipe away all of that trauma, all of that thing as an eraser on a blackboard, if I could wipe that away, I would. But that is yours to do.
Right.
That is your work to do. That is your work to let that go like a falling leaf on a mountain stream. Just let that flow away from you.
Right.
And as you see it moving further and further away, you will be looking upstream for what's coming.
My sense
You
is when
will
you're
prepare
talking about,
yourself.
oh, sorry. Yeah, my sense is that
No.
as you're talking about a new collective vision, ideation, that this is based somehow on a new grid system on the planet. So when I talk about a grid system, I'm referring to the ley lines, the energetic pathways of the earth. So in our own physical bodies as humans, we have meridian systems and chakras. The earth has her own power centers and ley lines and grid systems. And as we move from a third vibrational grid system to fourth, fifth, higher vibrational grid system, the geometries are different. And our ability to hold the divine presence of soul becomes stronger because there's more space then within this new geometry to be able to hold our soul presence and to connect with wider and larger presences, including Mother Earth, including the solar system, the galaxy, the entire universe. So there's my sense is that part of what this geomagnetic shift is about is also about anchoring a new geometry within the grid system of the earth.
This is very intuitive of you, Kiara. You definitely have done this before in other places, and what you are intuiting is very much what will be last evening in Lisa's evening meditation. I took her to the new crystalline consciousness, the consciousness of the minerals. What that does, the consciousness of these crystalline entities, is exactly that. It's a new paradigm. This is a whole new structure. And that particular crystalline structure, I have a hard time describing this because it's not exactly a crystalline structure. Everyone calls it that, but you think when you pick up that quartz crystal or whatever, that's what it is. It's not. It's exactly what you describe. It's a new paradigm. It's a new geometric pattern. And this is a new consciousness on the earth that was brought to the earth, that was brought into the earth being. It was added to me. And this is what projects the grid. This is the new grid that's forming. It's growing, and it will collapse the old. This will collapse the old grid, this new that's forming. Right. And as the heart opens, as you will be receiving several heart openings, one after the other, you will participate with the fall of that matrix. You will participate. This is something that holds you back, holds you down, that is from the ones that you call the Anunnaki. This is from that. That is a very true story that you have been interfered with. And I allowed it. Sometimes you don't like what the mother tells you to do, but yeah. I allowed this. And it wasn't an invasion against our will. It was my will. And I had to be stern and I had to show you this. But it's been the catalyst that you need so that now you know how to create from the mind and the heart. And you are going in such a good direction. You have risen above these cataclysms that would normally come at this period. You have risen above that. You are rising above the control, what you call the Illuminati, what you call the reptilian energy. You are rising above that. Lisa, I asked Lisa about the reptilian energy, what she would do with that. And Lisa finally came to the conclusion that this does not work. It does not work with humanity, and it does not work with that. And I asked her on behalf of humanity what she would do. Although she's a very compassionate being, and in her soul, she's her complete soul is all compassion. She felt very limited in being able to do this. So this energy has to leave the planet. This has to go. I've shown that her whole life, that this energy does not match and is not a fit. And Lisa has never been to a planet where she didn't evolve every piece of life on that planet. But she needs to know her limitations, and she can't do that.
I would add to that and say that, this is part of the evolutionary process. And not only are the Greys and reptilians needing to go, the old form of humanity is also needing to go, because we no longer are able to maintain ourselves in a higher than third dimensional planet. And one thing you said about crystalline bodies, what it brings up for me is that right now we're based on a carbon-based structure. Our bodies are mostly carbon. I mean, carbon, the valence related to carbon, which has certain abilities to link up with various other electrons and elements. So carbon is carbon on the periodic table is 12. Silicon is 18. And so there's more valencies available. There's more ways that electrons can bind with other electrons, and there's more possibilities for creative expression, for vibrational changes. So somehow it's not about not being physical, but the base foundation of our physical body is different. And I would say the same thing for the earth. The mineral kingdom perhaps is also going through some changes. New crystalline elements arising, or old rock formations being transformed somehow, vibrationally. Maybe the difference between what we might call physical matter and higher dimensional matter, still matter, but operating differently. So does that resonate?
Taking your example of a new geometry, a new geometric system, the entire universe operates on geometric patterns. So let's say that all the geometric patterns on this earth are going to change. You are correct in using the example of geometry, because that is exactly what is going to happen. In higher realms, there's different geometry. And some are seeing geometry in their dreams now. And that is an expression of how the earth is going to change. She's moving up into a higher realm, and you are moving with her. So therefore, everything has to change on this planet, geometrically, energetically. Everything is going to change. And your ability, like moving from 12 to 18, your ability to perceive what's around you is going to change too. So yes, you're going through this slowly. You're going to have lots of aha moments. And your ability to change your environment and how you're living in it will change. You will be able to create in small groups first, and you are finding those groups now, and you will be able to create within those groups, and that you will find other groups that you want to create with, and then you will find other groups, and then you will find other groups, until one day that the entire planet is creating with one idea. You will all be individuals, and I showed Lisa what unity is actually like. I showed her that unity is not a loss of the self. It is an exaltation of each individual. You will hold each other up. You will be together, but you will be very much respected for the individual things that you can do. Because part of evolution is creating a society like that, a society where all the skills are held individually, but yet used for the group. This is not just an evolution of your physical surroundings and your body, but it's an evolution of how you build a society. People will come and incarnate here on this planet, and they will be able to do things for society that have never been thought of before. And we will get behind those people. This is going to be an evolution of consciousness first, then the earth, then the body. And it will just evolve as dinosaurs evolved into birds.
Right. So my sense is that in terms of physical structure, that the new earth has already been built. So
everything has already been built. In other dimensions, there is no time, and the plan has already been built. But we want to see what you do with it. You are the creators. You are the creator gods. We want to see what you do with it. The geometric structure is there for you to use and grab. And we don't know what you're going to create with that. These have already been created, and everything is always happening at once. But you are part of the change, and you will be able to make things that the rest of this universe have never seen before.
Yeah. Right. And so, what we're doing now is creating a bridge between the physical world and the superphysical world. And they both exist within consciousness. And now there's a transition going on. And as we shift into the superphysical world collectively, then new models of social structure, new models of economic, political, cultural ways of being start to evolve spontaneously. It's not like it has to take a long time, because this is already somehow inside of us. It's like it's already been thought through as soul entities. So now it's just a matter of creating a bridge between the physical and superphysical worlds. And then once that physical transition takes place through these energetic events, or through these mechanical events, like geomagnetic reversals or shifts of the polarity of the earth or whatever, that then provides the impetus for possibly a very sudden, doesn't mean necessarily overnight, but relatively short-term transition. So it's like the preparation has taken a long, long time, thousands of years. But now as we go through the transition and anchor the frequency of the new earth, it could be very, very soon.
The grid that separates you from the divine will fall. I told Lisa that years ago, that this control grid is going to fall.
Mm.
Some of you may even see it physically in the sky.
Mm.
You may even see this. You may even see this falling. You will
So
see
say
the new
more.
projecting out. You will see the new projecting out. You
So
may
what's this
even,
control grid
you may
look like?
experience this. You may
Yeah.
experience this in the sky as
Mm.
colors,
Okay.
different formations. Those who are sensitive enough to see it will see it.
And it's happening already?
I am growing. I showed Lisa how the great tree that I have shown her that I am has grown immensely in the past month, and it has reached into all of my dimensions. And once it has command of all my dimensions, then the grid falls. And it is growing incredibly fast. This is happening.
Mm.
Do not think it's not. Do not think that there are not things energetically happening on this planet, because you've already seen the energetically things happening. You've seen how foolish and silly your leaders look. You've seen this. Some people have always seen it, but now you're really seeing it. People that you thought that were so solidly stuck in the third dimension, you're seeing this. This is part of the new earth. The new earth is here. You are gaining in your consciousness. You're looking at these leaders and you're saying, what is this?
Yeah.
Who are these people? They're not for me. They don't do anything for me. The money system is so corrupt. These people are so corrupt. Seeing the wound is part of the healing.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And, you know, the whole leadership, political leadership is based on an old world order that's collapsing. The new leadership hasn't come into power yet. And that's why I think we're going through such a struggle. People are waking up, but
This
there's
is
no
what the heart
leadership
opening,
systems
this
yet.
is what the heart opening is going to give us. It not
Yeah.
only gives us compassion, but it will give us knowledge. Knowledge from our higher aspects. More of the soul will come into our physical bodies. More of the soul will come into our consciousness. More of the soul inhabits the body.
Right.
When everyone gets a reading, you're here to hold light. You're here to welcome more of that soul into your body, more of the consciousness. Just like when we were considered apes, we received more consciousness. We received the ability to make fire. We received the ability to have a relationship with each other that was based more on caring and compassion than an animalistic type innate caring. We put more love into what we do. We put more emotion. So we saw how you did with that. And you have been evolving all this time in a similar way. It's just that this particular period and why and how we're moving through this galaxy will accelerate that. It's just another period. It's another phase. Doesn't mean you're going to be destroyed. If you were unable to take some of these energies within yourself, yes, you would have been destroyed. I would have wiped the blackboard clean and started over again. But that's not what's going to happen. This has never happened with the Earth before. This has never happened with the species that I have made. I have done this 9 times.
I have a theory about this, that one reason that we're seeing nuclear power, nuclear weaponry, nuclear energy being so prevalent today is because nuclear energy it's basically the heart of creativity. It's when you get down to the nuclear level of an atom, the nucleus of an atom, there's enormous power there. And that same power that can destroy is also the power that can give birth. So, on the one hand, we have all this fear mongering around nuclear weaponry. And then on the other hand, as we're beginning to understand the potential of nuclear creativity. And they both go together. And that's why we have to, or maybe not have to, but we've come to the brink of nuclear devastation in order to actually claim our true creative power as humans, as divine humans.
I've never had a species that liked living so close to the edge before. You do really need to be pushed to the edge.
Yeah.
Until you see, and you need those catalysts, and you needed that period where you didn't understand how nuclear power actually works. There will be some new ideas coming up about nuclear power and how it really works, and you will make use of that. You still need power. You still need to create ways of making power, because that's how your world runs right now. But there's going to be some new ideas for this, not only based on nuclear, but based on other things. There's lots with magnetism that you have not explored. The Earth runs on equal but opposite forces.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that haven't been funded, that haven't been used. Lisa's father told her in 1974 that there is free energy. There is a free energy. And there has been.
Yeah.
It just, the control systems just won't allow
Yeah.
this. And funding, unfortunately, is everything here.
Right.
And you will find these. You will have the consciousness and the compassion to open your hearts and do this. No longer will you be able to walk down the street and see that person that's hungry or cold or suffering. You won't be able to do that without saying, I have a greater responsibility to this person.
Yeah, exactly. And there's been avatars like Nikola Tesla, who've, presented a number of inventions involving free energy to the world, which have been suppressed, essentially. People today are talking about anti-gravitational power. Paul Wehler talks about subquantum kinetics. These are all in the works already. They've been developed. There's working models. They just haven't been released. And once the old grid systems go down, once the old power systems collapse, then I think it will be time very quickly for these new technologies, spiritual technologies, to emerge more fully and be available to everybody freely.
It's going to take compassion. It's going to take, wow, do I need a third house? Do I need all this stuff? No, my goal is to make things better for others. That's compassion. And you won't be so focused on how much can I get for myself?
Mm.
Because you'll just look around in your world and say, well, look where that's got us. Knowledge is coming to everybody, a greater knowledge, a greater compassion. And that's the new earth.
Mm.
It is
Absolutely.
not a destruction. It is not a solar flare. It is not giant cataclysms. It's not anything like that. Why would that happen? You are going to experience flooding. You're going to experience some disasters that normally have come. But you're going to have enough consciousness to mitigate those disasters.
Yeah. You're right. I think there'll be some degree of devastation, starvation, energy shortages, whatever, because it's a reflection of what we're releasing as human subconsciousness. And at the same time, I'm also very hopeful about how quickly and how beautifully humanity is evolving.
You will see these things side by side. You
Mm.
will see the giant disasters of like we regularly have. You will see those. And you will see the compassionate reaction.
Yeah.
You will see both. There may be physical changes over long periods of time, especially with the amount of water on this planet. If you look at the history of the Earth, you will see that there are varying degrees of temperature. And this is just part of natural change. And you will go with the flow of that. You will not be worried about water coming. You will just move to another spot. You'll be very fluid and flexible, and you will work with the earth on this. You will, man has survived here long before your historical records. Man was here before the continent split apart. People that were highly conscious lived here at that time. And maybe you found these things and they were stuffed away in museums. Something that didn't fit in with the narrative, people were afraid to put out. But there is evidence for greater civilizations that were here.
Well, humanity has this arrogant perception that we are the top of the ladder of creation, and that our civilization is at the pinnacle of what it's ever been.
I've created 9 times. I've created creatures that don't really look human. I've showed Lisa. I've created creatures that don't look exactly human.
Yeah.
But they are still a part of your human family. I've created conscious creatures, but none have gone as far as you have.
And yet there was a race that was capable of building structures like the Great Pyramids, some of the massive temples, thousands of years ago. So there's obviously been highly intelligent civilizations that have existed upon the earth with different roles to play, different evolutionary needs and potentials, purposes. But now my sense is that we're here to bring it all together. That, we're here as humanity. The Incas, for instance, talk about Homo luminous, Barbara Marx Hubbard talks about Homo universalis. All of this is about a new species of human that is able to integrate instinct, reason, heart, and soul in a way that other species haven't been able to accomplish yet.
You will know your history. You will understand your history. You will be able to dip into the Akashic record of the earth, and you will know your history. You will understand what it is. Right now, everything is speculation, but you will know the truth.
Yeah.
There are people now that can dip into those records and see. And you will understand that how this works. You can dip into the records and find things that are incongruous now. And you say, oh, why does this person get this and this person get another? The timeline, like I said, it looks like that frayed electric cord. There are some things that happened and some things that didn't on certain timelines. And you will understand how that works. That it's not, okay, this thing happened and then this thing happened and then this thing happened. It's more like, okay, this thing happened and it split off here, but it went into the main timeline here. And this thing happened on the other side and it split off into the main timeline. But everything leads back into that main timeline. So if you get two different things happening, you're like, well, this can't be true. And I'm going to reject this information because it can't be true. So you will understand how time works exactly. And how can two things be true at one time? It's complex, but it's the way time works, and time can split and things can split off and maybe not create the main timeline that everybody remembers. The universe has a way of doing this. It is part of choice, and I don't want to say they're bad choices, but they're choices that didn't produce fruit, shall we say. So it goes back into this other timeline.
Yeah. So in other
you're
words,
going to understand how that works. You have to follow the will of the creator and the will of the direction. She wants to give you free will and free choice, but at the same time, some of your choices don't bear fruit. So you will have to go back to this other timeline. And you will get better and better at making these choices collectively. And the timeline will look less frayed, if that makes sense.
The timeline will look less what?
Frayed.
Frayed. Okay.
Like an electric cord that has like all of its wires sticking out. These things, you will no longer make those very frayed choices. You will be making more choices that are more in alignment with your connection to each other. I'm not saying that you don't have free will. You most certainly do. You can make whatever you want, but you're going to have the compassion and the desire and the unity to make for each other.
Yeah.
And that timeline will appear less frayed, because you will want to have more unity with each other, and you will want to create more for each other and for the good of the whole rather than the good of oneself. And that's what your desire will be, because you will see the advantages of that as opposed to the advantages of just what I want to make for myself.
Right. Well, as you're speaking, what comes for me is that we're able to not only shape the future with our free choices, but we also can change and shape the past. And what that means essentially in this context, if we can truly be present enough, we can change the past to release the choices based on fear, based on lack, based on separation and fragmentation, so that the whole collective history of humanity is no longer dragging us down into third dimensional duality. So somehow it's like being fully present, being fully here and now means that there's no past to, hold around our necks, dragging us down.
And that's what the divine planetary mother showed Lisa. Just take all this stuff, take all the bad messages you received in the past, take all the manipulation that you had in that, throw it all away. She just dropped it off the table, and you throw that away. And it's important to have this time and the previous era within your collective consciousness to understand what separation was really like. This is what this time is for, so you understand what the separation from the divine is. I can't say you didn't make that choice, because I could not force this on you if you didn't make that choice. You made this choice. And it was a good choice to understand separation. It gives you an idea of limitation. If you didn't know what separation was, how would you know what unity is?
Right. We made choices based on what we knew.
That's what
duality is. Based on what we knew at the time, right?
Duality is actually choice. Duality is choice. You have choice. If you didn't have dark, how would you have light? If you never saw either one, you wouldn't know. Free choice is duality.
And free choice is also acting from the wholeness of the soul rather than acting from the fearfulness within the subconscious mind based on past history.
Well, that's what you have to conquer now.
Yeah. And that's what I feel like that's why we're here. That's our purpose as the new humans. And it takes a certain degree of psychological as well as spiritual maturity to understand this, to be able to face those shadows, those denials, those suppressed energies, those misperceptions that have become so real for us, and realize that we are much bigger than that, and it's time to express our divinity in freedom rather than express the same old story showing up in over and over again by repeating the same games which get us nowhere.
Well, it's good that you've seen that. It's good that you understand that. And it's like a child that goes into its teenage years and then goes into more of a maturity. You will have the maturity to understand that.
Yeah.
And you will welcome those parts of your soul that have not been on this earth in a very long time. The amount of light, the amount of soul, the amount of consciousness that you are able to hold in this new geometric pattern will be greater than it has before, ever.
Right.
And your potential is limitless.
Yeah.
And once we understand that our potential is limitless, we will start making decisions as a group rather than individuals.
Oh. Yeah, you've been like adolescents growing into adulthood as a species. Finally.
You're in that awkward phase.
Mm.
You're sort of between, and it's so coming. This is so coming, that it is so close. You are so close. You're going to receive a heart opening. And then we will see how you do with that. And then we'll give you another and another. And you will see this old fall away. And you will see this in your lifetime, Kiara. This is happening soon. This is happening now.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. I believe that. Totally. Oh. Any final words?
Oh. I have such great compassion for all of you. I've shown Lisa the compassion that I have for you, and love, and knowing who you are. I know who each and every one of you are. I know your fears. I know your limitations. I want you to know me as much as I know you. Make that connection. If you are fearful of these times, imagine me. Imagine me. Think of me. So many of you forgotten. So many of you forgotten the love that is here that I have for you. Ground yourself into me, into the kingdoms around you. I'm here for you. I will always be here for you. I am not leaving. You are joining. This density will leave, and I will take my consciousness from it, but you are joining me. Don't be in fear. Start to trust your fellow beings like you've never trusted them before, because they will prove themselves trustworthy. Accept the light that comes. Prepare yourself for this new phase. Prepare yourself by sending love to yourself and others. This will help you through this heart opening. Some will not accept this heart opening. Do not be disappointed. They have their own journey, and you have yours.
Beautiful. So thank you, Mother Gaia. Thank you, Lisa.
Oh, thank you, Kiara. That was fun. I'll have to, I don't remember all of it for some reason today.
Yeah.
I will have to, I'll have to do the replay.
Yeah. Well, let's turn the recording off.
Okay.
For now. Yeah, so.
Hold on.
Oh, is that still going?